Let's look at profit and CVP analysis. Profit analysis is also called as cost, volume, and profit, so CVP analysis, and it is a technique that is used to assess the effects of alternative volume assumptions. You look at, what happens at a volume of 70,000 visits, or what happens when you have a volume of 75,000 visits, and what happens to your volume when you have a volume of 80,000 visits on the cost as well as your profit. So, why is such information valuable to health services managers? Because this information helps in analyzing the effect of volume changes on profit, and volume can be very variable. As you can imagine, you could be at lesser number of patients in 1 month because of seasonal changes, inflation, travel season, and so forth, and on other months you may see a higher volume. So that this information is very very valuable to health services managers because it helps to understand the effect of volume on cost as well as profit. So let's say Atlanta Clinic has forecasted the following cost data based on 75,000 expected visits. So their fixed cost is $4,697,000 and the total variable cost is $2 million approximately. So their total cost is approximately $7 million. Uh, Now, what is the variable cost rate? So the formula for variable cost rate is total variable cost, as you see here, divided by volume. So the total variable cost that we see on this slide, as you can see here, why do I keep losing my mouse right here? So that's $2 million, 2 million and then 113,000 approximately dollars. So we take this number and we divide it by the number of expected visits to get the variable cost rate. And this is what gives us the variable cost rate right here. 2,113,500 divided by 75,000 visits, which gives us $28.18 per visit. So the variable cost rate for every single patient or every single visit is $28 approximately. Now, what is their cost structure? So the total cost is an addition of fixed cost and total variable cost. So you can see that the fixed cost which we got from this slide right here is $4 million. They forgot a comma here, but $4,697,000, and that's right here. And then the total variable cost is found by multiplying the variable cost rate with the volume. So if, let's say, we are talking about 70,000 visits now, we are not talking about 75,000 visits that we just saw earlier, but we are talking about 70,000 visits. We will plug this 70,000 visits into here, into the volume, and we will get this number right here. So 28.18, the variable cost rate multiplied by 70,000 visits gives us 1,900,000 some dollars, and the total cost stays the same. I mean, the fixed cost stays the same from here, and that does not change. So the fixed cost is approximately $5 million, and that does not change. So when we add now the fixed cost to the variable cost, which is approximately $2 million to $5 million, we get approximately $7 million as total cost. Okay, now what we are doing is we are changing the volumes and we are trying to analyze profit in a different way. So we are taking different volume sets. We are looking at the volume of $70,000 and we are looking at what will be the average cost per visit if you have 70,000 visits. So the total cost is an addition of fixed cost and variable cost that gave us approximately $7 million from the last slide, 6940, the one that we got from the last slide. We just carried it over here, and so we have approximately $7 million, so 6940062 number here, and we divide this number with the number of visits to get the um, cost rate, variable cost rate. So average cost per visit or the variable cost rate, that is what we got. Average cost per visit is $99 for 70,000 visits. Same calculation, and we get $94 average cost visit per visit for 75,000 visits, and average cost per visit is $90 when you have a volume of 80,000 visits. So what we are saying is when your volume increases from 70,000 to 75,000 to 80,000, your average cost per visit actually decreases from $99 to $94 to $90. So you are spending less. Your cost per visit per patient is less if you have a higher volume of patients. So this is the same thing as we see in wholesale market. You go to Costco, you buy a bunch of paper towels, and you see that the cost of each paper towel is much less than if you had bought it at Walmart, for example, because they are doing it in wholesale. They are making profit on volume. So what happens to average cost per visit as volume increases? So you saw that as volume increases, the average cost per visit goes down. In economics, what is this condition called? It is called as economic demand. When there is a higher volume, when there is more demand, the cost that is on the hospital goes down, and for the same reason, probably they can charge less to the patients. The cost per patient may also go down because they can afford to charge you less because they have a higher volume of patients. Now we suppose that the average revenue per visit is expected to be $100. Okay, so the average revenue per visit is expected to be $100. What does the clinic's cost and revenue structure look like graphically? So here's the graph that we are talking about. And on the x-axis, we have volume. On the y-axis, we have revenues. Okay, so let me just escape from here to the non-presentation mode so that I can show you a few things. So you can see that the revenues and costs are on the y-axis, and they are right here, and the volume is on the x-axis. We just spoke on the previous slide that the average revenue per visit is expected to be $100, and we are looking at 75,000 visits. So 75,000 multiplied by 100, which is 100. We just said that we expect that we will get 100 revenue for every visit. So how much are we going to make in total revenues? We will multiply $100 with 75,000 visits. That gives us $7,500,000 in total revenue. Then the total cost from one of the previous slides is $4,967,000. So the profit is the total revenue minus total cost. So 7.5 minus 4.9, that gives us approximately $2.5 million. And where are the profits and losses on the graph? This area right here, which I just lost. So this portion, this triangle that you see, this is the profit. This is the 7.5 million minus 4.9 million, and this is the profit. Okay, now the loss is shown here. This triangle right here, this red triangle that you see, this is the loss because that is showing negative revenues. So we can say that dollar, let me see if I can insert a shape or something. So if I had to insert a shape, and right here it would be 4,967, 462 in cost over here, and this line is represented by the cost over here, this red line, and the total revenue is over here, and that is represented by another, let me get another box, and that will give me that will give me dollar that I just calculated in the bottom. So $7.5 million, which is right here. So the profit over here is, let's pull another box, and the profit is going to be represented here by this triangle that I just showed you, and that is dollar 2,532,538. So approximately $2.5 million. Okay, so that's going to be the profit. So the total revenue, and this had lost, we forgot the dollar sign here. So the total cost, total revenues, and the profit. Now, the break even, where is the break even volume? The break even volume is this, and that is 69,000 visits, and that is over here. So let me put another box right here, and we will call it the break even volume, and this is the break even volume. This dotted line right here, this dotted line is the break even volume, and this is your actual number of visits at 75,000. So this is your 75,000 visits, which we can also show, which we can also show. So we can show it here, 75,000 visits, right here. Okay. So that's your, that's what your graph shows and looks like. So this is the fixed cost, the total cost, total revenues, the break-even volume, right here, the dotted line, and the actual 75,000 visits. Okay, so let's go back to the slideshow. This is a better looking, because we came to the slideshow, but you can look at it over here, which looks a little bit better. And then the forecasted profit and loss statement, or the projected profit and loss statement, is uses cost structure information along with revenue forecast and projected volume so that we can forecast profitability. So if you want to forecast profit for 2021, that is different from income statement. Income statement follows the GAAP principles, but the profit and loss statement is mainly used for decision making within an organization. So it does not have any financial accounting guidelines. The different formats can be used for different purposes. This is a base case profit and loss statement where you have total revenues, which is 100 times 75,000, so 7.5 million that I just showed you. And then the total variable cost is $28. Remember, variable cost rate is $28 per visit. And then we multiply it with 75,000 to get $2.1 million. And then the total contribution margin is a difference of these two. So the revenues minus total variable cost gives you what is called a contribution margin, and the total contribution margin is also $5.3 million, and that is $71 multiplied by 75,000, and then the fixed cost is $4.9 million that we saw. So we add the fixed cost to the total contribution margin. It may seem like that the total contribution margin is a profit because you are removing the expenses or the cost from the revenues and getting this number. However, none of the fixed cost of providing service have been included in the cost amount used in the calculation, so it is not profit. Since only variable cost has been subtracted from revenues rather than total cost, the contribution margin is the dollar amount that is available to Atlanta's fixed cost. Only after fixed costs are fully covered, Atlanta can begin to continue making profit. So all of your fixed costs should be fully covered, and then you subtract that, and then you get the number that you get is your profit. So the base case is the best estimate of future profitability. So you see that the base case total equals fixed costs plus total variable cost, or that is a fixed cost plus total variable cost, which equals to approximately $7 million. So the average per visit cost for Atlanta is $7 million divided by 75,000, and then we get 94.41. So what happens to the average cost per visit as volume increases? So if you increase the volume, the average per visit cost will also decrease, because not increase but decrease, because it is inversely proportional. You are calculating average per visit cost by putting the number of visits or the volume in the denominator. So when the denominator goes up, which is what they are asking here, if the volume goes up, the average cost per visit goes down, and we get the rate $94.41.